All right. I want to welcome everybody to the July 20th, 2024. August 20th, thank you. Got to keep me straight. August 20th, 2024 meeting at 6:02. If I get approval of the agenda this time.
So moved, Chairman.
Second.
All in favor, aye? Aye. I have it. It's our pleasure tonight, Ms. Levita. I understand you're going to start us off tonight.
Yes, sir. Let's pray. You, Lord, are forgiving and good, abounding in love to all who call to you. Father, in the name of Jesus, creator of this universe, I'm calling on you, the one who sits high and looks low. Jesus, I'm asking that you take control of this meeting tonight. I ask that you bless all those in authority of this county. Allow them to make just and wise decisions for the constituents of Jones County, Georgia. Unify them and take out any division or strife. Lead and guide them in the way that you would have them to go. And it's all in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Ms. Crutchfield, thank you very much. Well done. If we can move on tonight to the consent agenda and approval of minutes, we had the first Tuesday on August 6th, along with a public hearing on August 13th, a work session on August 16th. If y'all had opportunity to look at the minutes, entertain a motion.
Motion to approve, Chairman.
Second, any more discussion? All in favor, aye? Aye. I'll have it. Visitors, public comment, millage rate. Anyone like to come forward on public comment on millage rate tonight? No one?
Jason, if we needed to add an executive session, we have to.
No one? All right, we'll move on. Chip Grant. Red-
Commissioner,
Oh, I'm sorry.
Chairman, I would like to make an amendment on the agenda.
Okay,
We need to have an executive session also.
okay. All right. Second. All in favor, aye? Aye. Ayes have it, thank you. Okay, Chip Grant. Mr. Gregg, always a pleasure to have you, and you're going to get you out of here early, I hope.
Oh, that's quite all right. I'm staying for the last item of old business also here, so,
Okay.
yeah. But great to see you all, as always, and thank you for having us here. So, as many of you may know, Jones County received a grant from the Community Home Investment Program, or CHIP program, last year in about, mid to late 2023 is when that became official. Did a bunch of paperwork. The state has a bunch of paperwork that you do with that, all of that good stuff there. Started making some flyers, getting ready to advertise, and we are now at that point where we are able to start receiving applications again for the homeowner rehabilitation services that can be provided under a CHIP grant. So, a few reminders of the grant. It's a county-wide service area, so anybody anywhere in Jones County is eligible, as long as they meet the income requirements and the requirements that they are the homeowner occupant of the property to be improved. It is technically considered a loan until you fulfill the 5-year residency requirement, at which point that is forgiven. So there are some financial details that are required as part of the application, and it's a fairly I'd say a fairly stringent process for homeowners to go through, but certainly one that is doable. And we've had actually just received word that we got the first application from somebody in as of this afternoon, or earlier this week perhaps. So that's why I wanted to come here to you today to A, give you that status update on the project, but B, also ask for direction. So in full disclosure, I took over this project really just a month or two ago at this point, and in the process of still trying to figure out the direction that we're going to go and how we want to prioritize properties for improvement going forward. The last time Jones County applied for a CHIP grant, you had a list of homeowners who had expressed interest. As is typical with CHIP grants, there is not sufficient funding to get through an entire list of folks who have expressed interest. And it was a fairly long list of names of individuals who had interest, in any case, would need to be requalified for the program because their information on record has expired, especially when it comes to certifications of income eligibility and things like that. So there's certainly a process that still has to be gone through. However, there is a list of names that was placed in order from that last application. What I had heard from somebody at some point, and I don't know who, and this is not a great way to start off the conversation, was that there was an interest in some direction at starting fresh with new applications instead of going back to the list. I've also heard from some folks that there is an interest in going in the order of that existing list, and that new applications either go at the very end or, someplace else. So that's really what I wanted to come here for this evening, is to get direction from the Board of Commissioners regarding how you would like to prioritize those applications as we receive them. Should it be a brand new first come, first serve? Should there be preference or priority for individuals who have submitted their name to the list previously? And how would you like for us to proceed on that? Because there is certainly interest from across the community, we've noticed, in having funding available for the work to be done, and certainly no shortage of properties that are maybe in need of such assistance.
So with that being said, there was a list that had 61 names on it. And far be it from me to say how we should do it, but at the end of the day, there have been people who have been adamant about the grant and about getting some level of help from the very beginning. I'm a fan of taking on the list and doing what's necessary, recognizing that there's roughly 400,000 of eligible funds, dividing that equitably, and let's just call it 20,000, right, an arbitrary number, because we're not trying to redo somebody's entire house, but we're trying to give somebody assistance. And then that way we get more bang for the buck going down the list. If not, then we're talking about probably 5 people taking the bulk of the grant funds and not really making headway on the list. And that was kind of what I threw out at some point when I saw the list. And this dates back to a couple months ago. And I know you guys have had some change over there, so we're okay. We understand.
Commissioner Wood, you wanted to say something?
Daylon and I have spoken a little bit about this, and I agree. We want to help as many people as we can, and that's a good arbitrary number to start with, because we're not trying to put 80 or 100 into four or five houses. We want to help as many people as we can, and we can help 20 people. That's just kind of a good start, because I know that the list might reach 200 in this community.
Mm-hmm.
Greg, is there a criteria of what has to be done to get X number of dollars? Do you have to get to a certain point of rehabilitation, or is it just application based off need and income, and you go as far as the dollars will go?
That's a great question. So if you take on a property under the CHIP program, there is an expectation and a requirement that that property must be returned to livable condition. So now the criteria of how you take on a property is where you can have some flexibility with that. Some communities will flat out say, like, we won't do any homes that are more than 50 years old because we know that that's going to run into a whole bunch of specific compliance criteria with lead paint, potentially asbestos, and historic structures that we don't want to touch. And you could absolutely set a policy that says, hey, if this property is going to be, require more than $30,000 of cost, we skip it and we go to the next property. The grant will not allow us to do, $10,000 worth of work on a home, but still leave that home in
Less than
condition that is
code.
not up to code. So that's the regulation that we're dealing with in that instance.
How much of, I sit on the board for the Middle Georgia Community Action, and they do the weatherization. How much of that is some of this property where we could get them on board to help out with the weatherization, like the window sills, the siding on the house, those kind of things that they have money to help out with on some of the little smaller stuff to help out.
Yeah.
Could we do that?
Yeah, certainly, as long as a property complies with their regulations as well too.
Right.
Funds could be coordinated in that manner to ensure that the entire scope of work was accomplished for a property.
Greg, just curiosity on other, I know you say you just took this over, but on other communities, when they get to the position we are, where we got people still left on the list, do they start where they left off, or I'm just seeing what other communities do.
That's a great question, and the answer is I know of communities that have done both. It goes into how old is your list, and how much progress have you been regularly making through it, and you could even have some other mechanism by which you say, like, hey, if you are on this list, you're going to get priority, but we still need you to turn this in a timely fashion. And because, whoever is number one on the list right now, if they don't give me updated information, we can even call them and ask them for it. But if they never send that to us, we can't proceed with it because their information is out of date at this point. So it could be that there are many ways you can open that up, maybe do direct outreach to some of those individuals and encourage them to apply, and maybe make that as part of it. But I think it's a great question, and I'm here talking to you because there's not a clear answer. It's a question of what you want to prioritize as a commission, and hopefully we can continue working on this and getting more grant funding that goes forward in the future on this as well too. But no application is a guarantee until we have the money in hand.
And I'm just thinking, people took the time before to fill this out, and they might have been that last one on the list. Well, if we start there and as new people come in, you can add to that list and work the way out.
How
Like
old's the list?
At least a year.
a year old.
I mean, I'm assuming we would need to at least verify that they still own the home.
Right.
Get updated financials.
Right.
Yep. So I would say, with regard to who we have on the
61.
list, we reach out to them, that first 20.
And I mean, it's a very good mixture of the county too,
Yep.
from the
Right.
list.
Yep, reach out to those first 20 and ask for some updated information. Give them some timely amount of time to turn that stuff in, and really assess what's done, because I don't have a dollar value next to the house, so I don't know what they need, and then go from there.
Could we put that on a spreadsheet and, so we can know value of getting it to livable condition versus, value of, just say if it's a $100,000 house and it's gonna take $80,000 to get it back in livable, we would assume that we're not gonna put $80,000 towards it. And I don't think that would be our highest and best use for spreading the funding out. So that might give us some criteria, or at least some grading points.
Yeah, I don't know who does that. If it is Sherry Kurtz, then it's her husband who goes out and evaluates property. So I'm assuming that would take some time.
Yes, sir, it would, and unfortunately, we do not have a building inspector on our staff at the Middle Georgia Regional Commission, so we do have to contract out for that service.
Yeah.
So when they're putting in an application, they're just saying, here's what I think we need.
Yep.
Here's
Windows,
what I'm asking
doors,
for.
windows, doors, HVAC, roof, whatever. And then Sherry Kurtz's husband goes out and does an assessment and gives us his value. And so the list might be easy if it's, let's say number one just says, I want windows. Well, we know, get a window quote, whatever. You could say windows are doable. And then number two might say, I need foundation issues. Well, okay, because foundation issues is bigger. And we might say, maybe not this time. So again, I would go back to the owners and we ask them, and then if Sherry Kurt's husband is available, because he's the guy that does all the work around the country, I mean, not the country, the counties, that might help us expedite the process. When does this grant funding end, by the way?
That's a good question. I believe it will be active through mid-2026, I believe.
Okay, and when is the
Is the
next
timeline on that?
application period open? Do you know?
So it's an annual application. I'm sure they would want to see,
They want to see
some more movement on this one first. So I don't know if this upcoming year would quite be ready for that one, but possibly by the time we're looking at the 2026, this one wrapping up, that could be a time at which we'd be ready to ask for funding again. It's a competitive process, so there are things you might want to do to prepare for that. One of those might be having your GIC team up and operational again, because that can definitely contribute points to it. And, I think continuing to show, your community-wide commitment to housing and, activities and outreach and programs like that. But I think that's probably the timeline we would be looking at.
Well, I'm a fan of doing as much as we can for our constituents, and if you can get us a date, and if it's December 31st, then we know we need to press hard to try and get these first 20 done, so that we can apply for some eligible funds for next year if we're there, because I don't want to miss out on $200,000 of available aid for our constituents if we
How
can.
does the money flow through? I mean, if a project for windows is approved, does Middle Georgia Regional set up the contractor, pay the contractor to ensure the work's done?
The county would be the fiscal agent for the funding. So the process would include an initial scope of work being developed by a building inspector. In this case, Jeff Kurtz is the one who does it pretty much everywhere in the entire state of Georgia, because so few people are actually have the qualification from HUD to do that. Then we would submit paperwork to the Department of Community Affairs through two separate phases, which would include environmental assessment of that particular property, details about the scope of work, the funding, financing, that whole structure, documentation that they went through the appropriate processes of finding contractors, which we would assist them with.
So does the homeowner have to bid it out, or the homeowner would just find a window contractor?
The homeowner it has the ability to select the contractor that they want to work with, provided that they meet HUD qualifications criteria, which that does narrow down that list a little bit. So it's more a case of they don't go find a window person. We give them a list of contractors and say, you can pick one of these. These are folks who have the qualifications necessary to do the work. Once that's done, at that point, the county would receive an invoice for the work done on that property, and would pay the contractor that work, for the work that they performed. And there would be at that point paperwork filed at the clerk's office that would detail that the county has basically provided, in essence, a forgivable loan to that property, and that if it changes hands in that period of time when it's not supposed to, that homeowner would be liable for repayment. And the whole purpose of that is to prevent federal funds from going to house flippers, basically.
Right.
So that would be the process. As I described it, that is a fairly lengthy process. And I will say that the average CHIP program project now is doing 6 to 8 homes. simply because there's a lot that has to go into each one, and the 20,000 that we might want to go for does not go nearly as far as it used to, or as we might want it to go. And so practically speaking, it's maybe not 20 homes at 20,000. It's maybe closer to 10 homes at 40,000, and that's still doing minimal work while stretching your dollars about as far as you can. So that's just my fair warning on that is, it may be for some homes 80, 90,000 to rehab, and that's not reasonable. But 20 may not go very far in many instances also. So that's just what we've been seeing from other projects around the state.
For clarification, Commissioner Martin, you want to do a motion to, are you thinking about starting where the list left off and build upon that list on new applicants?
Yes, so I would move that we start with the list and then we just add on as others fall off. And maybe the maximum threshold might be 40,000 per home?
You might want to check into it because there's not but a handful of contractors doing that. And it ain't-
I get it,
I
but
know.
I don't want it to be, and again, can somebody just second it for?
Second,
All right.
for discussion.
So for discussion, I don't want it to be where we only get to do 2 houses
Sure.
because somebody says, oh, I need $100,000, and we say, okay, it's 100,000. But 40,000, I think, is a pretty decent chunk of an average home of somebody in.
And what I've been seeing is roofing and windows
Yep.
is predominant request. There's
Yeah.
a few people that need doors, and you hear some other items, but
Yeah.
roofing, windows, that sort of thing, keeping the cold wind out,
Yep.
and rain.
And again, if it goes beyond that, I would say then we need to reconvene on that particular house, right? We can.
It may be a one-off, so to
Yep.
speak.
And if a house just needs windows and it's like $9,000, and then now that carryover can go to somebody else's home.
Right.
Oh, we got a motion and a second. Any more discussion?
Mr. Chairman, can I ask a question real quick?
Sure.
On the list we're speaking of, we're talking about the list that we started compiling a year or so ago when it was first announced that we would be getting the chip grant. Okay.
And
Where
all of
where
those
we
will have
left
to
off-
update. You said
Yeah.
the first 20 would update all their information?
Yes.
Need updated financials.
Where we left off on the last, if the last person that didn't get chosen for the last grant, we can start with them. And if they're not ready or don't qualify, you just go down the list. And we can compile new applicants on top, below that.
So that would be, so there was, I'm sure the last time this was done, there was a list of people that was compiled 4 or 5 or 8 years ago or whenever it was. Are y'all saying go back to that old list or this
How
more
many
recent?
were left on that list?
No telling.
You-
Probably a lot.
You want to go on the last list and start from there?
For this list.
The one
Okay.
after we made the announcement last year.
Right.
Okay.
All right. Everybody clear on the motion and second? Any more discussion?
Mr. Chairman, if I can ask for a direction on one thing, if we're looking at $40,000 and average per home and 400,000, I would ask that perhaps in the interest of time, maybe if we get an application in from anybody number 1 through 10 on the list, we can go ahead and start working with them immediately. And then the applications in the 11 to 20 range, we start asking for them and holding them. And then wait a second, but that way we don't have to wait for person number 1 to respond until we get to person number 2. I think that's probably still within the bounds of the motion. I just wanted to make sure that was a
And make sure
clear.
that there's a deadline, and if they don't get their things in within that deadline,
It's time sensitive.
that you're
Okay.
gone.
Right. They had
That's fine.
opportunity, they were on the list,
Great.
had opportunity to update their information and go from there.
That is a good
Basically give them ability to update for, all right.
Yep.
No more discussion? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Ayes have it. Thank you, Greg.
Thank you.
In the interest, if he's here for the last one, can we bring it up to the current? Since he's here.
Yeah, if you wanted to. I think Jason's on the lead for that one. I'm just more here for questions or support if needed.
Liberty Park.
Liberty Park.
I'm awaiting some information back from DNR on that. And I would ask the board just to postpone that one pending that information back from DNR.
So we'll postpone it when we get to it on the agenda.
Right.
but
You need
let's-
something
we'll keep
for
it
me to
on
sign
the
now,
agenda.
Greg?
No, I don't need anything
Yeah.
signed. I just needed your direction. So thank you.
All right, I didn't make sure.
Thank
Great.
you.
Have a good evening.
Thank
I
you
know
very
you don't
much.
want to sit here for the whole meeting.
Yeah. Thank you.
All right, if I could, on number 2, I need a motion to table for executive session, if I could.
So moved.
Second.
Second, all in favor, aye? All right, Ms. Wagner, we got a beer and wine license that we need to talk about?
Yes, we have a beer and wine license that was revoked by the sheriff's department.
Ooh.
And we have 2 investigators and 2 companies with us. If one of y'all would tell the board what has happened.
And I'll talk a little bit about it too while y'all are coming up. So, there are violations, there is a criminal case connected to it, so we're gonna be a little bit limited in what we say, but violations, that has caused our sheriff's department to temporarily revoke, the beer and wine license. What we need you all to do, so we'll have to put this issue on the next agenda to give the licensee an opportunity to appear. But what we need you all to do is decide, since this licensee is holding currently 2 other beer and wine licenses in our county, if one's being violated, do you want to temporarily revoke the other 2 as well until you all have a chance to hear the violations and consider whether you want to revoke or suspend all 3 licenses?
Were
You
the
wanna-
violations, were the violations happening at the other 2 locations, or that we know of, or just one?
It's just a one.
It's being held by the same.
But, okay, if this one is closed down, are they gonna send those same clients to the next one?
Well, and do you want to discuss what the pending charges are, but
I
just
think so, yes.
not,
Yeah, what can we discuss without disclosing too
no
much information?
names?
Okay, basically what, and I'm Lieutenant Nelson with the Sheriff's Office, so basically what we got was some complaints of distilled spirits being sold at a place that y'all issued a license back in the May, July. And they actually put stuff on Facebook, offering the first 25 people on Thirsty Thursdays, they get free shots of tequila. So, so the location is the We Got You Bar, which is also a restaurant that's down there at the 49 Mart on Sherland Drive. Used to be Low Bucks or whatever. So they opened up the old Subway, and I think during the daytime they have lunch, and then at night they open up and they try to make it like a venue sometime where they'll rent out the place.
Is this the same?
Yes, that we,
Little ladies?
Yeah,
Took 2 times.
The ones we questioned and
yeah,
then?
we had to
Yep.
come in, yeah.
Well, and there's
So-
other violations there as well related to
So
the,
basically what we did was we on a couple of different nights, we sent undercover officer in there and actually purchased mixed drinks from the place. And the last time we actually sent in a underage person and was able to buy a mixed drink from the bartender in there. We did a search warrant and confiscated the liquor that was in there. And we took the license and brought it up here to Shannon. But we just kind of lost on how the license is being given, or how do we prosecute on the different licenses, or who gets the license, because this person lives in Bibb County and she had somebody signed that's a resident saying that she's the representative for the person, even though this person don't live in the county. So,
I think we addressed all of
We
that,
did,
right?
yeah, we did.
So we had a sort of a work session before the meeting, and addressed some of the questions and sort of have some guidelines of what we can do, moving forward. But in regards to this particular license, selling underage, not just beer and wine, but liquor, and liquor in general, and being very public about it. So it is temporarily revoked. It'll need to go on the next board meeting for the licensee to appear. But do you want to as well temporarily revoke the other 2 licenses? Yes, that are being held, and consider all 3 at the next meeting?
yes.
Yeah. I need that in a motion.
I make a motion to suspend the other two license that is connected with this licensee.
She,
Second. Any more discussion? Commissioner Martin? Just, who want,
I don't know if Lieutenant was gonna say something.
Yeah.
else.
okay, I
Discussion.
was trying to get, okay.
I was just gonna let you know, she owns the 49er Mart and the JC One Stop on Joy Cliff, along with the We Got You Bar. So those are the three places that she has license to sell beer and wine out of.
JC1,
Used to be Old Morgan's Minute Market on Joy Cliff,
3402 Joyful
across from Kingsview.
and what was the other one?
The Low Bucks or 49er Mart that's on Sherman Drive.
Yeah.
You said there was 3.
The We Got You is right next door. It's hooked to the,
Ah, okay.
It's called the We Got You Bar, isn't it, or something?
yeah.
Was there anything else we discussed earlier that needs a motion? I don't think, I know we got a lot of sort of clarification and direction, but, okay.
Any more discussion? Any more for us? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Ayes have it, thank you. Wow.
And that will come back on the next. We'll have to send her notice of the temporary revocation of the licenses, and that'll be back on your next agenda for consideration as to what you do with it from there.
So just as a matter of precedence, because that's almost what we just did, anytime someone has a suspendable offense, it affects all their license.
It would be my legal advice to you all
Right.
that I would suspend them all within the county until you have an opportunity to
Right.
sort of
I don't
consider.
think we wanna promote bad behavior.
Right, if they're violating one, then,
It's just gonna be.
I
They figured it out in 2 other places.
yeah.
All right, Mr. Earl, we got some grant money for, understand free grant money, we like free.
Yes, sir. On last month, around the 19th of July, the sheriff's office was awarded a grant for a canine, a dog, and a vehicle. The initial grant was for $62,500. It was a reimbursement grant. We spend the money, they reimburse us for that. Initially, we had, we were informed that that the grant money was for the use of the dog and purchase of a vehicle, and that was it. All the other equipment that go along with the dog and making sure the dog was treated well and everything else was gonna be on us. So we spent about a week trying to locate this equipment, the cage, the heat detectors, the alarms and stuff that go into the car to make sure that the dogs were well cared for. And about maybe 2 weeks ago, we updated the Georgia Emergency Management Association about the progress that we had made. All of this money goes away at the end of this month. If it's not spent by August 30th, then it's gone. So it's our goal was to try to do it quickly, but a couple weeks ago, it just flat out forgot about the whole bid process on the purchasing of the vehicles. And so we started scrambling around trying to find that, and I contacted Jason, and I told him that I don't think we're gonna be able to meet those parameters of bid process and get the money spent and reimbursed within the time limits that we had. So that's what I was here for tonight, is to ask the board to waive the bid process for this vehicle only. And it's our intention of we've already found some vehicles. We found one that we like. It's an SUV, it's a police package SUV, so it will fit. We put everything on hold until board could meet to let us know where our next move was. And so we can at least get everything done and the receipts and the invoices turned in to have all the money reimbursed back to the county by the end of this month. So that's, I understand, is a pretty quick process. As soon as we turn them in, it's just a matter of a couple of days before the county is reimbursed for the cost. Now, a couple, I just want to let you know, initially it was for $62,500. They emailed and said, hey, by the way, we've got some extra money. If y'all need it to help to do we were going to have to finance all the equipment and the labor to go into the car. With the extra stipulations and everything that come with the extra money, they will actually pay for the labor of installing everything into the car and making it ready to go on everything else. So we are absolutely out, no money whatsoever. We just have to have it done by the end of the next 10 days or so.
So you just need a motion from us?
I just need to waive the bid process, and we'll have everything purchased this week and reimbursed before.
Jason, are you good with that?
Well, and if a purchase is inappropriate for the competitive bid process due to time restraints, that's an allowed exception.
Okay, make a motion.
Assuming,
I'm sorry, even then, I don't know if we'd had time to meet those parameters around the bid process.
assuming it's a used vehicle, so we can't get.
No, it's brand new.
We can't get off state contract.
Well, we got it at a lower price than the state contract.
Is there a motion? We got a second?
Second.
Any more discussion on free? No. All in favor, aye?
Aye. Thank you, Earl.
Yes, ma'am.
I don't think we'd have any problem with free.
Yeah, thank y'all.
All right,
Thank you, Gary.
Brandon.
Good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
Come before you to see if I can get y'all's blessing on purchasing a new backhoe for the water department. We currently have 3 early 90s models that 2 of them don't work currently. They're not really worth putting money into, in our opinion. So we want to get rid of the 3 that we currently have and purchase a new John Deere 320P. This is the one that Public Works has done extensive research. They've tried them all out. It's the cheapest one that we could find. It's one of the best ones that they could find. We have money left over in my current budget to be able to put X amount of dollars down, and I've already implemented the payments for the next 5 years into my upcoming fiscal budget. And this is Sourcewell pricing, so it's the best pricing you could find.
So it'll be a lease purchase?
It will be a traditional finance because we're going to put such a large amount
Okay.
with the existing money we have left over from this year's budget.
They call it a muni lease, but it's where you got $1 to pay at the end and then it's ours.
Yeah, that's the way we do the buses.
Is there a maintenance program that,
It's included in the price.
perfect?
Yep.
That'll be good.
You having money left over in your budget sure help, because one of the backhoes, y'all remember, was at the bottom of the lake, and the other 2 aren't very pretty, so, have seen better days.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Okay. Any more discussion? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Thank you, Brad. Mr. Risner, millage rate approval.
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman. So you have in your books there the information about the millage rate. The rates you have there before you are the rollback rates. And for the for the unincorporated area, that would be 14.702. For the incorporated area, it would be 16.07. And then for the River North Special Service Tax District, it's 0.964 mills. And so we would just ask the board to adopt those millage rates for the coming fiscal year.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Second. Any more discussion? Be 4 years in a row on rollback, so. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Damn it, thank you. Mr. Risner, Liberty Park, you want to table that one while you're waiting on, or postpone that one for a later date?
Yes, please.
All right, if I can
Motion to postpone for a later date, Chairman.
Second.
get- Second, all in favor, aye?
Aye.
Any department heads tonight? Ms. Levita? Leslie, you got anything on for your department? I was gonna let you pick up for Jason then, let's see what, I had to pick at you. Brandon,
Another further. Thank you.
missing anybody? Mr. Mayor?
We're good tonight,
Oh, we need a city update. You can't come without a city update.
Just glad to see you here.
It worked out learning these last couple of months. No comment.
Okay. You're getting good at that, aren't you?
I would like to say that the sales tax are good, as I tell you. So the city's gonna continue to support y'all, and we appreciate you.
Thank you. Mr. Resnick?
I was just going to share with the board, you'll have, sometime tomorrow morning, you should get a spreadsheet. The department heads have gone through and prioritized their items from the budget. We've put together leasing cost information and then some comparisons between like 3 and 5 and 8 year averages to what the current requests are. And so I'm going to send all that out to you
Thank you.
in the morning and so y'all can start playing around with different projects and identifying which ones you want to fund for the coming year.
You too late in anything? We good?
Club Genesco needs some renovations, just putting this out for the board to consider, because I was at a birthday party there Saturday night, and it looks like 1976 called and wants their decor back.
Oh, my gosh, that was a good year.
I'm calling y'all out, because
That's
it's
the
real
good year.
pitiful.
That's the good year. All right, citizen comments. Anyone tonight? Citizen comment? None? Commissioner Kitchen?
No comment, Chairman.
Oh, my gosh. Commissioner Wood?
Just upcoming in November 23rd, we have an event coming in downtown Haddock, and I was going to ask if there's some, going to be reaching out to building maintenance, possibly Public Works, for some help with some of the poles in Haddock, and then also we're going to need a couple golf carts for the event. So I just want to kind of make the board aware that we'll be coming with later request. Thank you.
Commissioner Vaughn, I know you got a fight to go to.
I do. I'm trying to hurry up out of here. It's great to see all y'all's faces. I've been on the phone for the last few months, but I'm here now. It's good to be beside my buddy here and see all y'all. So thank y'all.
Commissioner Martin?
Sean is out resolving an issue right now, I think, because you saw the pictures
Yes.
of what was on the road.
They were still working on it.
Oh, amen, amen. Because LaShonda Whipple had an issue with people coming down the road and running into all of that. So other than that, no comment.
Meeting the car on one side and rocks on the other.
Man,
You know, the operator was in that picture still working, so.
yeah. Well, you know, we just didn't know, so she called me in a tizzy.
Yeah,
So
Sean went down and looked at it, but if you look at the picture, it's got the operator sitting in the cab,
Yeah.
letting her come by so he can go back and start
oh,
working.
okay, that's what he's gonna say. Sure.
No, I mean, look, you can see the operator in the picture.
I'm not knocking it. I'm just saying if she was.
All right. Is that it?
Took a picture. No comment.
I need a motion to go.
I
into-
need a motion, make a motion to go into executive session.
I need a second. Second.
Second, all in favor, aye?
We may be watching a fight in executive session.